everyone, Melanie Muenchinger here, illustrator for Gina K Designs. Today I have a new project for you with my newest set from Gina K Designs, Stately Flowers 11. Love this postage border in this set, and I have so many different ways to use it. You might have seen some already in one of our Team Inspiration hops. So what I'm doing today with this one frame is I'm overlapping it at about the halfway point to create 3 new sections for smaller postage stamps. I also showed on the blog hop another card that actually had it turned on its side. Where is it? Here we go. And so you can see that here I've got it the long way so that we've got 3 skinny sections. Today we're going to be doing it on the shorter side to create fatter, shorter sections of that stamp. Pretty minimal supplies for today's project. We're going to be using the Stately Flowers 11 set. I've just got some Gina K Pure Luxury cardstock. This is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2, the Kraft. And then I've got a piece of the white cardstock. This is 5 1/2 inches long. It's perfect for doing this doubling technique on this frame. It stretches all the way across the A2 card. And I've got this cut to 3 1/8 so that you have room on either side of that postage border. Also going to need just some adhesive, or you can use some foam squares if you want to pop up that layer. The ink pads we're using, I've got the Memento Tuxedo Black, and then the Kraft, which coordinates with that Pure Luxury cardstock. We're going to be doing some reverse masking today, so you're going to need some Post-it notes for masking off the sections of that frame, and then just a sponge dauber. The markers that I'm using today, I'm using the Spectrum Noir alcohol markers. I've got the DR1 and DR5 for the red butterfly, the OR2 and the OR3 for the orange butterfly, and then finally I've got, I think I actually put the wrong one back. We're going to be using the GT3 and the BT5 for the blue butterfly, and then the BG4 for our shadows. And then finally, I want to use just a white ink pen. This is going to help touch up any areas that you might overstamp when you are doubling that frame, and also just to add some nice little white accents on the butterflies. It's really going to make them pop. You're also going to be needing a large block. This is the 3x4 block that Gina sells, so I love this block for this postage border, but it's going to work really with a lot of other large stamps that you have in your collection. So let's begin by stamping out our border. Now there's a couple different ways that you can approach it. You can just overlap it and then touch it up, or you can stamp the first one, then lay this over it and ink up just this end and then the outside. This is going to eliminate some of the overstamping that you're having here in the middle, but it's really up to you. And I might end up showing it both ways, just depending on how the stamping comes out. I'm going to try not to get in front of it, so it might be a little bit harder for me to see when I'm wanting to line this up. But there's 19 little humps that go across the top. It's the same on either side. So basically you can count 10 in if you want, or you can just eyeball it. I have a little piece of fuzz there from when I cleaned it, so let me get that off. Okay. And I love that the stamp pad is wider than the frame, so it's easy to go across the edge there. Okay. And someone asked me about the edges of this block. It's got that little bevel inside of it, so it's really comfortable to hold. So I'm going to go towards the end, almost to the end, but enough to leave enough space at the end so that I have about the same amount on all 3 sides. So I'm just going to carefully lay that down, and I can see that the lines on my block are running parallel and perpendicular to my mat. Okay, now let's go ahead and we will stamp this again. And again, you can either lay that over it and do just the end and just that part, but I'm going to go ahead and just do the whole thing again. And I'm just going to carefully place it over the mat. And when I see the little humps on my stamped image disappear underneath this image, then I know that I've got it where I want, and I'll just carefully press it down. So pardon my head if I get in the way. So you're going to come down towards the end of this mat And you're going to look at each of those sections. So that's got it right about there. And press it down. Okay. All right. So this is kind of like when you have ever stamped something with the Misty. When you double stamp it, even if it's in the same place, it might be just a little darker. So if you mind that, you can just go over and just take your white pen. Actually, I'm sorry, this is the wrong pen. I got a new pen recently. I've used both of these in the past. This one really is a lot brighter white. This is the one that Gina sells. It skips for me sometimes a little bit though. So I like to use both of them for different things. But this is the Uniball Signo pen. And it's supposed to be the brightest one on the market. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of going in and just touching that up anywhere that it looks a little darker than I want, maybe going above it or below it. And then I'm off just a tiny bit here. So you just eliminate the hump on one side where it's overlapping. And you really don't even have to do this if you don't want to. You're going to have your sponging and other stamping. You can layer on that canceled post, put your image over it. So there's a lot of things. I don't worry about being too particular on these, but I'm just trying to show you some options if you really want a clean look there. Okay, but I love this for creating lots of different faux postage looks. Now what we're going to do, and I think I'm probably going to turn it this way for doing my sponging. So we're going to take our Post-it notes and we're going to cover both sides so that it's just covering up about 1/8 of an inch through there. You can see that. And if you want, you could do all these sections at once, but I'm just going to do them one at a time. So then I want to repeat this on the other side, skipping about the same amount of space, thereabouts. And then I'm going to go above and below. Right about there. And then do the same on the top. And then we're going to be able to move this mask and shift it up. So I'm going to take my craft pad and I'm going to swirl this on here, and I can tap it off on my little Post-it masks. And if you want, you can stamp your butterfly on first and go around it. But our coloring is going to be much darker than the craft, so it doesn't really matter. And I always like to kind of leave a little bit of space, let the white showing through just so it looks more textured. But if you want a more blended look, just go ahead and keep swirling that in until it looks solid to you. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the bottom ones that I placed on here first, and that's going to pull up the whole mask together so that it's still the same size. Actually, it's going to pull apart, sorry, because it stuck to the other side. All right, we'll just do them separately again. So quickly, just going to go down to the sides, and you can use this line that you already have here, that vertical line, so that you keep it consistent on all the stamps. And then I can see where I had this one before. So go in, swirl that around, and I concentrate around the edges so that you have that nice crisp edge so that the white postage border around it is really going to pop. And if you don't have a craft pad, you've got to get one. I mean, even if you don't use the Kraft cardstock, which is such a staple for me as a neutral, it looks so great for distressing and aging things. And then we'll do this last one. Now, I'm also going to do a video just showing how you can mask off the large single postage frame. Now for that one, you're not doing anything to customize different sizes for a number of postage borders. You just have the one. So what you can do for that is you can just make one mask that you will save. I wouldn't do that with Post-it notes. I would just stamp that out and then use a die or a craft knife to cut out the center. And then you can save that and you can use it over and over again because the size of this is not going to change. All right, so this is my last one. Okay, so I'm going to remove all that. All right, now let's do the stamping with our butterfly. Now you can turn these if you want, but typically a stamped image is going to look the same. If you're trying to make it look like a postage stamp, you want to repeat that over and over again. And grab my butterfly. So on these, I have them going all the same way. Now what you could also do, you could stamp them this way and we could do a landscape layout. Let me try that and we'll see how we like that. Yeah, okay. Just for something different. I'm going to color them the same way. So I'm going to have one here in the middle. Let's see how that fits just right across that. And if it doesn't, if you've made yours a little bit smaller, that's okay. I like when an image comes outside of a border. Oops. So it's stuck there a little bit. That's fine. I can go ahead and put something over that. Okay, so let's color these in really quickly. I'm just going to lay down a base color for each of these. So I'm going to do the bright orange all over this one. And then I'm going to go back in with the darker orange. And you can use more colors on your butterflies, of course, but I'm just, for the sake of time on this video. And then let's do the lighter green. The other one is more of a teal. It has more blue in it. You might be able to hear a little bit more background noise today. It just started raining. I was hoping the thunder would hold off. Okay, and then the DR1. It's a nice pink red. So adding your white accents after, that's going to really stand out. It's always easier to go on with a gel pen to add white accents. They're going to be brighter. And it's going to be so much easier than trying to color around a space rather than filling it all in. Okay, now I'm going to take my darker red. I'm just going to add just a little bit there to the middle. And then on just some of the end sections of the wings to kind of make some of those sections pop a little more. And then we'll use our BT5. Use the chisel tip. I'm just going in, pulling that out. You can also trace these little sections that outline the wings if you want. And then finally, let's use that deeper orange here. And you can bring in some of that red if you want. I mean, there's just so many ways to do this. But I'm just wanting a little bit of contrast to give them a glow. And now let's take our white pen. And I'm just going to do just some little dots. And if you want to look online just to look at some real butterflies and see how they kind of have these just around the edges of their wings. So I'm just filling in those little sections, kind of going along the outline. And you can do each one differently if you want. Just have fun with it. It looks so pretty on a red. And probably should have worked left to right. The gel, it is kind of like paint in a pen, so smeared that a little bit with my hand, but I can go over that. You can also color back over it with your darker marker if you want. Now I'm going to take the white and I just want to put just a little bit on the little body sections. Okay, that's done. And then what we're going to do, the last thing, I wanted to create just kind of an interesting edge here underneath. And I love how butterfly wings kind of look like lace. So you could do this with the white, or you could do it with the black, but I'm just wanting to add just a little bit of the wings peeking out from underneath my postage border image there. Maybe I'll continue this onto the back just for fun. And so you can see I started in the middle on the front so that it would have about the same amount on either end, and then would just layer that just right over it, just so you see the very edge there. And then you've got room above and below for some of the words. Let's go ahead and let's put on, I'm going to do the first class down below. And I just like changing around the sentiments just to see. Put it down here. You might want to add that postage, that canceled post on yours. And then let's do maybe love, forever, and friend in all these. Okay. And I like using a smaller block for my smaller words, but I don't have that out. And love and forever. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and adhere this to my card. I wish I put those just a little bit lower so you saw more of it, but that's okay. All right, so I'm going to put just a little bit of adhesive on here. Fold it up, and that's it. Can't get it straight today. Let me fold this up. Fold this up. That's why when I cut it, it was off a little bit, or scored it. There we go. Okay, so the edge of that was not quite square. All right, now, gosh, I like that just like that, actually. Okay, so I'm just gonna have a little bit peeking out at the top, and that's it, card complete. So let me know in your comments whether you prefer the portrait or the landscape layout, but I hope this gives you lots of ideas for smaller images that you could put in this. Back to this one, as you can see, I actually made a continuous scene here. So if you wanted to just mask off outside and then have the butterflies work through here like a scene rather than having them divided, you could do that as well, and that would be really fun. Thanks for watching this video today. Please visit my blog, Hands, Head, and Heart, for more ideas and inspiration using all of our stamp sets, and visit us at Stamp TV and Gina K Designs. Thank you for watching today, friends. God bless.